and welcome to Brew Tap Cast. I am Tap here with another Flesh and Blood video. Today is an episode of Pints and Previews. We will be going over the Day 1 spoilers of Tales of Aria and having ourselves a pint. Got a couple sweet cards here to talk about. If you're looking for the three that were spoiled prior, Lexi, Weave Lightning, and Shiver, you can go ahead and check out our previous episode of Pints and Previews for Tales of Aria. But this is Day 1 of the official spoiler season. We have a whole bunch of cool cards to see. So I think, without discussing too much more, just let's get right on into it. Alrighty, here we are to look at our cards. So jumping right into it, we have a Majestic Weapon. We have Voltaire Strike Twice. This is previewed by Noxious. So we have a Majestic upgrade to Shiver. Essentially, it is the same thing times 2. We have 2 copies of Shiver just stapled right together to each other. We get 2 instant actions that we cost 1 to slap a card face up into their arsenal. An empty spot. If you do, you choose one. You either get to have +1 or you get to go again. So again, Shiver times 2, so twice in a turn. That's really powerful. And again, we'll see later on. We have a card. Actually, it's the 2 cards from now that will show that this is even more powerful and works really well because we can do it twice per turn. So ultimately, we really did like the power of Shiver in that it can give you stuff. It's another way to get something in your arsenal to actually play as an arrow, because again, arrows can only go from your arsenal. Works well with Lexi in general because she has some stuff that can give go again. If you have lightning cards that you're going to say boom, flip up, there you go, you get go again there. You can get some pretty wide turns here, or if you need to have a little bit of more buff, maybe you really want to get an on-hit effect. Maybe something's got dominate, you can give it a plus to it, so you have a more awkward blocking, easier on-hit effects, stuff like that. So all in all, very powerful card. I see no reason to think this is not going to see play as sort of the premier elemental ranger weapon here. So that is our first spoiler. Next one we have from LSV, we have Light It Up. Light It Up is an elemental ranger action attack. It is an arrow. It is a yellow pitch majestic. Costs 1, attacks for 4, defends for 3. A lot of these are ranger cards defending for 3, which is really nice. It is a Lexi specialization. It is non-legendary though, so you can have as many copies as you can have in a format in the deck of this card. It says Lightning Fusion. So it's additional cost. So this is the first time we saw fusion. We saw things that if they were fused, get X, like on Weave Lightning, but now we see what fusion is. So fusion is you have to reveal a card that is a lightning card in this particular case for the fusion to actually have it. And what do you get from that? Well, if Light It Up was fused, it gains, if it hits a hero, deal 1 damage to them for each equipment they control. So the first time we've seen things that at least I can recall that actually look at the number of equipment that someone has and punishes them for it. So, immediately you think, oh, we're not thinking about this in limited because it's majestic, but at the same time, it wouldn't really do all that much. Wouldn't be a good card limit because it's only a 4 damage for 1. And likely you don't have a lot of equipment. You use it up, blah, 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 whatever. But for constructed, this is actually really quite powerful because, there's never a free arsenal spot, a free equipment zone in Classic Constructed unless you've broken it, used it up, whatever. Otherwise, you are maximum always going to use those 4. There's no reason not to until now. But again, the benefit of having an empty equipment spot is worth the 1 damage here. So absolutely a terror of a card in that regard. It's just hitting for potentially 8 early in the game. If this is going to hit, it's going to be coming in for not a real 8, but essentially 8. So if it hits for 1, it's going to be coming in for 5. So you're going to be hitting for pretty hard damage. And what it says also, if Let It Up deals damage to a hero equal to or greater than the number of equipment they control lose and can't gain activated abilities until the end of the next turn. So their next turn cycle, all their equipment can do is block if it actually has block things. So that's really quite powerful. Being able to shut down armor for return is quite amazing. That said, the extra damage you're dealing from the equipment they control does not count towards that. It has to be Lighted Up itself, because it does not say Lighted Up deals damage. It says deal 1 damage to them. So I believe that doesn't actually work, because then as long as you hit at all, the number of equipment would be equal. So in that regard, it has to be actual damage for this. So you have to buff the power of this thing to really get there. But outside of that, I think it's a really powerful card. Again, they're incentivized to block this out fully. If they are playing a lot of generics, maybe they can just block with 2 cards anyways, but you're over-blocking essentially because you have a lot of cards that are probably going to defend for 3, or defense reactions that maybe don't line up as a 4, because probably going to end up buffing this a little bit because you want to do that. You can have your Shiver / Voltaire, boom, give it a +1, whatever, to try to make it a little bit more awkward to block. So overall, pretty powerful card. I don't see why it would not be seeing a lot of play in Constructed in more than one. The only thing is it is a fusion card, lightning fusion card, so you have to play a lot of lightning cards. And this is not a lightning card itself. Although it says lightning fusion, you have to reveal a card that has lightning on it, like a lightning action or something like that. So at this point, I think that's how it is. This is an elemental ranger card. It's not a lightning ranger card. I'm not sure. I haven't read up on the rules yet, and maybe they haven't released them yet. That I don't think this card actually counts as a lightning card. I could be totally wrong. We'll have to look into that later. But in any case, pretty powerful card. You're going to want a critical mass of lightning card so you can get that fuse, because the fuse is really going to help things out. Alrighty. Our next card is a legendary piece of equipment. Sorry about the dog in the background there. We have the Real Brad dropping New Horizon. That is our next card. So this is Ranger Equipment Head. Blade Break blocks for 2. It says, while you have a face-up card in your arsenal, you have an additional arsenal zone. So there's that playmat. We saw those 2 arsenal spots. Very, very cool. Have extra arsenal spots almost unconditionally, because Shiver, Volterra allow you to drop that face-up card in your arsenal. So you can sort of guarantee that happening. Volterra allows you to do it twice. So you can actually maximize that second arsenal zone. So it says also, when New Horizon is destroyed, destroy all cards in your arsenal. So that's kind of a downside, but ultimately it's not that bad, because you can likely, unless you're getting hit with Magnetic Shockwave or something like that, you can likely plan if you're going to block with this and have a way to figure it out. And maybe you have some instant speed things in your arsenal, even if you know that that's coming or something like that. So yes, it's a downside, but ultimately the ability to have a second card in arsenal is a massive upside. Massive, massive upside. Again, we see how powerful Chain is right now in the meta, being able to have extra cards in his hand. This is essentially that as well. Yes, it costs a card from your hand, so essentially you have to front load that, which is a lot less powerful than Chain's banishing. But you do end up getting an extra card in hand. Just it sort of carries over from your next hand, or your previous hand. So I think it's a great card. I think it definitely will see some play, because although Hardened Crosswrap Skullbone Crosswrap is quite a well-played card, but at the same time, yes, it allows you to get some shifting in your arsenal zone. Having a second arsenal zone is probably more powerful on the whole, particularly with the way it works with our new Majestic weapons for Elemental Rangers at the time. So I think this will definitely see some very good play in Constructed. Alright, on to the next one. We have Red Zone Rogues with Seek and Destroy. So going back to our Lady in Red Azalea, we have a Ranger action. This is a red pitch, 0 cost, Ranger action, blocked for 2. It says your next arrow attack this turn gains +3 power, and if it hits a hero at the beginning of their next end phase, they discard all cards in their hand and destroy all cards in their arsenal. Again, sorry about that dog itching. So this is incredible. And if you go watch Red Zone Rogues' video, Kel has a really great little strategy for playing with Azalea and then just maximizing the brutality of this card. So essentially shutting down almost all of their turns. They can't really do a whole lot. Other ways to maximize power on this card is hamstring shot, frostbite tokens, all these other things that allow you to cut down on what they can do. So frostbite we'll see later. And other things that are basically going to make them not be able to use their entire hand, because they're going to lose their entire hand and their arsenal. That arsenal part is key. I'm just really sorry about this dog right now. She's getting a little itchy. But yeah, so that's the power of this card. It can be very, very high, and I think it's very, very important that we respect that. So Azalea might be coming back with this kind of stuff. We're really excited about seeing that. So again, especially if you're playing a mirror match and they have multiple arsenal zones, being able to knock this out is ridiculous. So the buff is awesome. Giving it Dominate, amazing. So definitely a very powerful card. I highly think this is going to see full 3 of, 2 of in Blitz and Constructed. So great card. All right. Our next one, we have Frazzle from the Fab fan page on Facebook. So let's just drink this in. So this is a red pitch, 1 cost, 5 attack, 3 defense, elemental ranger action arrow attack with lightning fusion again. So again, that's that reveal a lightning card from your hand to fuse. If it was fused, whenever an attack would deal damage this turn, instead it deals 1 extra damage. So it deals that much damage +1. So it's replacement effect. So it's important to read this particularly whenever an attack, not this attack, any attack. So whenever, if you fuse it, this doesn't even have to hit. It doesn't have to do anything. All you have to do is, when you play it, fuse it by revealing a lightning card. And there you go. Home run. You get the extra 1 damage if it hits. So you don't buff your cards in the sense of being able to have +1 on the attack, but if they hit, they do an extra damage. So they still only have to block for this one if it's coming in for 5. They only have to block for 5, but they get the extra 1 if they hit for any amount. So that's what Frazzle is. There's probably going to be a yellow and a blue version of this. Is a common. We're likely going to see those. I think this one will definitely see some play. It's a pretty good rate, being able to block for 3 and a 1 cost, 5 damage, possibly 6 damage if they're not going to block. So it's pretty good. And again, I think that, yeah, again, you need a critical mass of lightning cards, because otherwise it's an okay card. Like, there's nothing wrong with a 1 power 5 attack, but being able to buff other attacks that are going to hit that turn is actually quite good. But the fuse cost is, or the fuse action is really nice, that you don't actually have to hit with that to activate that. So we're probably going to want to be using Shiver or Voltaire to really get multiple attacks going on here, get and go again, stuff like that. So definitely like that video. Very nice. All right, next one. It's from the Fab Discord. We have Invigorate. This is our first just generic elemental card here. We have elemental action. Defense for 2. Costs nothing. This is the red pitch version. Assume there will be a yellow and a blue for this common. So the next attack you fuse gains +4. So again, so that's a pretty big buff. And it's definitely on the higher power end. This is basically a powered down version of Weave Lightning. So who knows which one you're going to want to play, but this is just another copy of that, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, so think of this as your like Courageous Steel hand here, because it doesn't do anything if you don't have a card that's going to fuse that turn, and doesn't even pitch for anything really in the red version anyway. So yes, you can really power up a fuse attack, but you have to have a fuse attack, otherwise it's just going to be kind of lame. So we saw Courageous Steel hand in Monarch was the one that if you charge, it gives things a buff. This is essentially the same thing. So it's a little bit of a, but at the same time, it's not an attack reaction, so you can't use it at instant speed. It has to be sort of face-up, playing, cool, I'm going to fuse right now. Not like there's really anything your opponent can do about it, but in any case, that would be, like, just looking at the cards we saw, assume, like coming up with, like, Light It Up. Like, boom, you do this, you reveal a lightning card when you play Light It Up. That's coming in for 8 damage, right? And that's pretty awesome. Like, it's likely going to hit, and maybe going to hit for enough to shut down their armor too. So a lot of damage coming in for that attack section there. So yeah, pretty cool. I'm excited to see how well these are going to work and what we can do to make these work, and if they're actually worth it. If we can spend slots on elementals rather than specific elementals, but we'll have to see. All right. Next one, we got Buzzbolt. This is from BGN Squad. So this is a Elemental Ranger action arrow attack. It is a 5 power, 3 defense, 1 cost. This is the red version. Lightning Fusion. If it was fused, whenever attack hits a hero this turn, deals 1 damage then. So it does not, again, just like we saw with the previous card, the Frazzle, it has to hit to do that. But again, you just have to fuse it. You do not have to hit with Buzzbolt. Just buffs every time something hits. So very powerful here. Again, that 1 cost, 5 damage is pretty nice. Same thing as Frazzle. These are essentially the same card. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I think. No, actually, there is a difference here. So they're not exactly the same card. So Frazzle says whenever an attack would deal damage this turn, instead it deals that much damage. So whereas this one says whenever attack hits a hero this turn, it deals 1 damage then. So it's a extra form of damage. It's not a extra point onto it. So it's an extra. It's a separate 1 point of damage. So that does. So the Frazzle would actually help with Light It Up, because that actually means it's going to deal 1 extra damage, which is going to help towards that shutting off armor, which is this one. If it hits, it's not getting that buff. It's just the extra 1 damage. So they're minute differences, but they do matter for certain cards. In any case, I think they're both fine. I think I like Frazzle because it does buff the amount of damage, whereas this one has to hit and it does an extra damage, but it doesn't affect the total damage of a card. So if your total damage per hit matters, Buzzbolt's not what you want to be. It's really Frazzle, but being able to add any amount of damage on there as sort of incidental chip damage is actually really quite powerful. I think I'd take Frazzle over Buzzbolt, though. I think that's all that really need to talk about there. The extra damage pattern for this lightning stuff is pretty cool, but we have a nice card. Now we're going on to Chilling Ice Vein. This is from Tower of TCG. Just let you see all that cold goodness. So first ice card of the day. Good on rate. Again, that 1 power, 5 attack. Sorry, 1 cost, 5 attack, Elemental Ranger attack, action arrow. 3 defense, ice fusion, so you got to reveal an ice card when you play it if you want to fuse. It says if it was fused, whenever an attack deals damage to a hero this turn, they discard a card unless they pay 1 resource. So this has to hit, and then any attack, again, if it fuses any attack deals damage to a hero, they discard a card or pay 1. So ultimately, you're always going to be stripping cards from their hand. They're either going to choose a discard, or they will pitch something and pay that. So this is really great for going wide because you can really help limit someone's hand volume, which when you're playing Ranger, you need a critical mass of cards in your hand to really make things go. You need a lot of tempo. Being able to keep less cards in their hand, again, pitching on their turn probably won't matter unless they're Kano. So you'll be able to strip cards off their hand to make your turn more powerful, and you just get in this nice cycle of really rolling downhill and getting more powerful as you sort of do that. So I really like Chilling Ice Vein. I think I like this. I think I like the Ice Fusion mechanic thing that we're seeing so far better than Lightning. Yes, extra chip damage is kind of nice, but I think this one is really where the power's at, and I'm really more excited about this. Like shutting down and adding in with Frostbite again, which we'll see in a couple cards. Very, very nice, and I like this a lot. So I'm thinking I'm higher on this than the Lightning. We'll have to see how things go there. We want to see who our ice people are. Maybe we have another Ranger. I mean, that'd be kind of crazy if they had 2 Rangers in one thing. But I mean, I wonder who this guy is. But I guess you can't have a non-Ranger with an arrow, right? That kind of makes sense, right? But yeah, pretty excited there. All right, we have Chilling Ice. We have Electrified. This is from Azkaban Juegos. This is back to Lightning again. So we have a 1 cost. This is a red pitch, 2 defense lightning attack. Lightning action is generic. Next time an attack action card hits a hero this turn, it deals 3 damage to them. If Electrified is played from Arsenal, draw a card, go again. I really like the go again here. The draw card. It really does power this card up a little bit because you do have to pay for this. You have to pitch to pay for this, so that makes it a little bit better. But at the same time, it's not really all that great for blocking. This is not a Ranger card in specific. This is a generic Lightning card, so you have to have a hero that can accept Lightning. So right now we only know we have Lexi, but we assume there will be more than just Lexi. Assuming that there will be at least one, should be one other hero. We're thinking... Yeah, I'm thinking that there's like each hero has 2 specializations and there's like 3 total. We've seen Lightning and Ice, and we're thinking Earth is going to be there because some of the lore is stating Earth as one of those things there. So looking forward to that. But yeah, it adds to your fuse ability. So maybe that's really where it needs to be because you're going to have a critical mass of fuse cards, and that's they're very important there. Have to see how this comes out. I assume there's also a yellow and blue version as well, but I'm not sure if those are really going to be worth it or not. The draw card is pretty nice. All right, last 2 cards we have Ravewin. Check him out on YouTube. He is a superior creator. Check out his videos. Very cool. We have Chill the Bone, and then the next card, which this helps to create. So we have Chill the Bone. This is a ice action, 2 defense, 1 pitch, 0 cost. Says the next time an ice or elemental attack hits a hero this turn, create 3 Frostbite tokens under their control. Go again. So buffs up some attacks that are either ice or elemental to make Frostbite tokens. And what are Frostbite tokens? Well, they are these delicious tokens that are created under your opponent's control. It says cards and activated abilities you control cost an additional 1 resource. At the beginning of your end phase, or when you play a card or activate an ability, destroy Frostbite. So essentially they have to pay, so however many tokens they have to pay that amount to actually activate something, on top of any activation costs or playing any cost. So if they have a card that costs 2, and they got 3 Frostbite tokens, they got to pay 5. And then they all blow up. So they have to shake off that frost to actually play some cards. So Chill the Bone is very powerful in that. And I think I'm really liking Ice more than Lightning. Because like Lightning, yes, can do more damage, but I think the Ice is more controlling and more powerful in that regard, is that you're doing more damage as your Lightning, but you're stripping more cards from their hand as Ice. And I think that's just more powerful in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the raw value and raw power points that you're dealing and throwing around is more important, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure Chill the Bone is a pretty good reason to like Ice over Lightning, but that's just me. I think it's really powerful. But again, they're sort of like a Cartilage Crush, but you can stack, or what's the other? Hamstring Shot. Again, there's being able to stack those is pretty brutal. And I'm thinking these are going to be great cards to play. I assume there's also a yellow and blue of these ones. We don't know yet, but I think red's really where it's at here. So, yeah, if you haven't checked out his video for these cards, definitely do so. But those will be all the cards for today. We have some others that we'll throw on the screen. Our preview card is coming out tomorrow. I guess it will be when this posts today. You'll see it later. So check out our channel for that. We have a sweet, sweet card to drop. We have a nice video. We put some solid effort into it, so I hope you guys enjoy it. But otherwise, check out these fantastic creators that are also dropping videos, and then look forward to the next couple days of spoilers. So that'll be all for today's Pints and Preview. So we want to say thank you so much, and we hope you enjoyed the video, and cheers.